My life is divinely led. I live in miracles only. Just weeks ago, I prayed to die every night, and now I'm living so large. My life is so full. I knew I would have this day. I knew it was coming. I talked about how good it would feel. I share all the time, but I couldn't know how good it would feel to be me now. I went through hell, so I paid a price, but I'm now on the other side. This may be my permanent recording space because I have a really congested house here that's a really hard place to live in, but it's what I've got through August anyway. In Puyallup in November, December of 21, I started just staring down the street, and it was just something I had to do. And it was. A friend confirmed it with a text, like somebody whispered in my ear, I'm supposed to tell you to be okay with just being. And I was. I became a master of presence by staring. No thought in my head whatsoever. That was in Puyallup. And then I moved to the Oregon coast, where I'm staring out my window and looking at the ocean, or I'm outside in my yard looking at the ocean, or I'm at the sand on the ocean. All I did was this. This is all I do. I was so very present all the time that no thought in my head. I'm connected completely to source. My antenna is unclogged, clean. I get complete information. What cannabis does, it takes it one step beyond the brain's not active. It opens you up into complete being your full self, who you came here to be. And this is what came through today in a big way. You won't find money people, my exes, my daughter, touching cannabis. Because when you close your mind and you do what I did, it's like you're totally connected. They don't close their mind, but adding cannabis to it brings who they are to their vision, their thoughts, their who they are. And they override it with their money self, and it causes anxiety, extreme anxiety. Those people can't do pot, probably not even indica, because it makes them think. It makes them separate from the money self, and they don't want to separate. They want that money self. They need that money self. I need to thank somebody from my past who was yet another angel on my path. I've had so many angels. The guy who stopped us from skiing down the cliffs, he showed up and then disappeared. I had 2 witnesses to that one. The guy who filled the seat across from Craig, the guy I would eventually marry and move to Ohio. The flight attendants were so blown away that that seat was filled and then it was empty. He had to hold it for me because it was a full flight and I had to sit next to him. My life is this way. It's like I'm always like guided to that next thing I need to do, and I do it. Tom at the lake was an angel. He followed guidance. These are just mere mortals who do something and it changes my life. He's one of those people that is such a bright light. He's so amazing, and his wife is such a control freak and so angry all the time. Always has expectations through the roof for this poor guy and the kids. But Tom is like an angel. He's such a great soul to be near, to be by. One day he said, Carrie, come here, I want to play a song for you. And he played a song. It was a Chris Stapleton song, Maggie. And I had Marley at the time. But that song woke me up. He didn't know the impact for a while. He did eventually. Because I had been in radio. I was in radio 25 years total. At that point, I hadn't listened to music in 10 years. Ever. And so I was going through a really beautiful transformation, going deep and then coming out. And so I discovered Chris Stapleton. I started listening to him on YouTube, and I got to know his songs, and I could sing his range. And then I discovered Zach Brown, and it was like Chris was about darkness and deep, and we got to smoke them stems, or going to use the gun. And Zach is about coming of age and becoming your biggest self. So it's like my music was an evolution for me. And now I have a playlist of zillion songs, and they started it. And that was because of Tom. When I was working in Olympia, I worked out with a personal trainer. This man, buff, his system was unlike anything you've ever heard of, but it works. He worked me through 7 different exercises, worked my entire body out to complete fatigue in this many minutes. I kid you not. It was amazing, and it's a revolution he started. But this man, I'd had surgery for a tailbone infection. I was a hot mess for a long time. My system was not regular, and I couldn't sleep. And I mentioned that one day, and he said, of all people to say this, my trainer, I had some big days. He said, you know what? Because he had a lot of trouble sleeping. He said, I went to that shop down there and I talked to her and I got these caramels, these indica caramels. So he said, go talk to her, go get some. He said, in the couch, indica. And it's so funny, you never expect your trainer to, but so I did. And I went, I don't even know where I went, but I got some and it helped. When I was young with 2 sisters and tragic lifestyle, I tried pot with my sister. I just couldn't stand pot because it made me paranoid. It was illegal and there was rules. And so I didn't enjoy it. I didn't enjoy pot, but I did it. I did it a lot later with my friend and her husband. We did crank. Was it crack? Crank. I think we did crank. Yeah, we did crank. Cheap drugs. Sometimes cocaine, whoever had it. I wouldn't have the money for that. And then it was illegal and then my life moved on and it never crossed my brain again. But when he said that, I went and got some. And that was one of the angels that I required to bring me to something that the world has said, oh, don't do that, it's icky. Oh, the benefits you're missing out on, oh my God. Every day during my journey, I'm told how much to take, and I can only do edibles. I can't smoke, I don't like any of that. When you take cannabis after you're silent, and not just recreationally, because you don't get high, it just takes you to where you're receiving at a space that there will be no interruption whatsoever. Thank you. It's just a flow. It just comes through you. And there's nothing in your body that can stop it. So cannabis helps you stop being stodgy and prudy and judgmental. It helps you get to your natural spirit, touching who you are and facing that other self of you that you're not so fond of. That's why they don't like it. He was an angel. He introduced me to something that I never would have expected from a trainer. And to this day, it's like I reach out to his wife every now and then, just like checking in, because they're like, we're connected at the soul. But without that, I still would have done this journey. But it's so much easier when you just allow yourself to be completely open. There's people who go do ayahuasca ceremonies just to experience this connection. You don't have to do a ceremony to be connected like I am. You don't. So this angel introduced me to cannabis, which ties in very nicely to the post I did today, and I'll put that right here. This post is about how men started controlling women centuries ago. It's all covered in my book, The Bridge. I'm not going to go through it again. But men covered us up. Men made us go to church and made us get married and say we're going to be yours forever. We won't ever sleep with anyone else while they do. And they put us in a box with children that we had to be responsible for. Then they had to have their cake and eat it too when they got home. Men did this. Men like power and control. That's why the world is the way it is. If you look around, men are doing this. Women are peaceful. We don't do this. Men also controlled the cannabis industry because they saw how powerful this was, and it brought people back to who they are. Have you seen Woodstock? I wasn't there, but it's like people were just peaceful. And people with money in the money world, they don't like that stuff because it makes people rebel and it makes them be who they are. So man, and I'm speaking penis man, not human, penis men have controlled that industry, drinking industry, Epstein Island. It's all man making the world that's perfect for them, while women have to go do their little role, and we've allowed this to happen. It boggles my brain that we've allowed this to happen. Well, it stops now. It's all in the bridge. It's over. It's like, really? This is done. We're not doing this anymore. So I had to make this video. And now I'm gonna go to a winery with my neighbor and I think enjoy some music. So I'm done with this part of me today. I'm gonna let the other part step forward. I like her. She's powerful. When I walk into a room, people notice me. I float with a cloud of energy that's just magnetic. And that's what you don't see in the videos. It's like last night I went out to sing and I had the time of my life. the next best night ever. They all are, because I create my own reality. If I didn't make myself happy, what would I be doing? I'd be miserable. So I take me to where my joy is. I had a bad experience there the last time I went, so I wasn't going to go back. Last night was amazing, so I will be back.